This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jambo, jambo. Warm welcome to you this morning, the Maasai Mara of Kenya. Very beautiful, nice sunrise in front of us. Welcome aboard to a very own safari live from the African wilderness. Jambo, jambo, and a warm welcome to you here in the Maasai Mara of Kenya. We have a very nice, beautiful sunrise slowly sinking into the sky. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. Oh, what a surprise. I have an elephant bull just next and close to us here. He's just come to investigate what's going on. He is a massive bull. Look at him. Very, very big bull. Send us your comments and questions at #WildEarth. For our young viewers, kids question at WildEarth.tv, on the YouTube comment section at FC, on our website www.wildearth.tv. It's a nice, beautiful morning here. You can hear doves calling, the elephant bull walking, which is very, very nice. You can see him just walking just straight into the screen now. He looks like he is on a mission. Carol, magnificent day on an awesome day. Thank you very much. I can't agree more. It is a magnificent day. Waking into the sunrise, the doves calling, and the big, gigantic elephant bull just walking in front of us. It's about 16 degrees Celsius and about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So today seems like it's going to warm up faster than yesterday. Yesterday we didn't see a nice, beautiful sunrise like today. But each and every day we witness changes in sunrise, sunset. So every day has its own unique style of how we wake up into the wild. Taylor, thank you for your question. We only have one particular elephant here in the Mara. We have the Loxodonta africana, which is the savanna elephant. And then when you go to Mount Kenya and the Aberdeen ranges, we have the forest elephant. So we only have two elephants living around here. So the forest elephant is a little bit smaller than the savanna elephant. It rained the entire afternoon yesterday, and almost halfway through the night it was raining. So I'm expecting to see lots of activity this morning, especially the elephant walking towards the savanna and towards the marsh. And sometimes when it rains, you find that there's enough water supply for most of the animals, and sometimes you find that plains game can be evenly distributed because there's plenty of water, there's plenty of grass where they go on feeding. So as I carry on my mission to find game, elephant, lion, even leopard, let me take you over to another live location.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Djuma, the most perfect start to our live safari. Little Miss Olivia is finally alone and standing up. I'm not sure if it's quite standing up or if it's squatting, but either way, this is the best visuals we have had of her in a very, very long time. So I am over the moon. It's great to have you here. My name's Lauren and I do have Kurt on camera today, and we're in the Mulwati, of course. Where else would we be? Excuse the branch on the camera. I am leaving it as a marker. Not everyone knows how to find Olivia, so I'm going to leave it as a marker so people can come and see. She's become rather famous, shall we say. I'm just going to turn around so I can see my monitor. There we go. That's better. Now you can see on her head and sort of on her side and her tummy. I know it's difficult to see because it's a ball of grey down at the minute. You can start to see the bars. So I think we've hit the two-week mark. I think she can stand on her 2 feet upright, holding her spine upright, not squatting. Although she's squatting this now, you've got to remember that it's morning time. She still sleeps a lot, so I'm very jealous. And it's been a chilly morning. So 18 degrees Celsius and 65 degrees Fahrenheit to start. So it's very chilly, but I think she can stand up. She can open her eyes fully. I think she's already on her second down. Things are starting to change a little bit. At this stage, I do believe she'll be doing a lot of wing exercises as well. Oh, she's so sweet. Olivia, good morning. Wow, the question of all questions. I did just touch on that. We don't know. But that's why we're trying to gauge the development. So that's why we're coming here on a sort of daily basis in order to gauge what we're seeing. Now, we found her on the 1st of November, and it's obviously now the 15th. So she's at least 15 days old. I think we found her within a day of hatching. I really do. I've been studying the development, well, intensively. And I really, really think that we're at the 15-day mark. Now, according to the book that I'm following, she doesn't look quite the 16-day mark, but you've got to remember, this is plus or minus a day or two. The lovely, lovely book that I'm following was by a man who actually had a spotted eagle owl chick, and he just documented it intensively. But it will differ in each areas, environmental conditions, any sort of biological conditions may differ from area to area, but only by a day or two. So I really do think she's approaching the 16-day mark. But we're not sure. We didn't see her hatch. We just saw Mom being a fantastic mother. And then we came and we saw the eggshells and a little bit of movement under Mom's wing. And I know a few of you thought you saw movement a few days earlier, but we don't know. We only actually spotted Olivia on the 1st of November, which would work out about right. We also found Sebwick, her brother or her sister, we don't actually know, on the 13th of November last year. So spotted eagle owls do lay eggs annually. She's just too sweet. I might stay here just a little bit longer before bumbling off to find something else.
Lauren is incredibly lucky to have that little owlet. We're actually here in the east at Clara Dam at andBeyond in Ngala, and we have found some very playful hippos this morning. A whole pod of hippos with some calves, and they're playing and coming closer to us. An absolutely stunning morning to be out in the bush looking for the predators. So welcome to andBeyond in Ngala, everybody. My name is Tessa. I will be your guide for the morning on safari. Behind the camera we have Owen. So we're actually looking for the Birmingham Pride, the Pride of Lions here in the east, but we found these incredible hippos on the way, and so we've been sitting here watching them playing because they've still got a lot of energy this morning. So there's two very young calves here in this pod that have been coming up and down, playing with each other, climbing all over their mothers. But it's just so incredible to see them so close and so playful. So this is a stunning view to start our morning with. There's some spoonbills in the background, a heron. We've even seen a white-faced whistling duck. And there's a woodpecker pecking away in the background. There's that spoonbill feeding. Just filtering through the bottom layer looking for those invertebrates. And this is a really fantastic place for us to be starting in the morning, see if there's anything coming down towards the dam, but also just listening out to hear the sounds around us, see if there's any alarm calling or maybe even lions roaring in the distance. So we're just going to appreciate the sounds around us for now while we listen. Owen's found the white-faced whistling ducks there. You can see that beautiful white reflecting. Having a little bath. So we're actually going to spend a little bit more time here with these hippos and just listen out. And hopefully we might even hear those lions roaring.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Lawfield this morning, and welcome aboard to your very own safari. And looks like we're going to be trekking this morning the leopard. While we're in this field, it looks like a two pair of leopard, male and a female, come right from the dam side heading east. My name is Andrew. On camera, I have Neil this morning. So this is on this more the tracks of a leopard. Looks like the leopard was probably coming from the dam side, heading on the eastern direction. But we discover, looks like there's two tracks, which are male and a female. And could be Talamba that she was seen around here a few days ago. But this male would not show, could be Tlangula, making his way down in the eastern direction. So this is why we're going to be spending time this morning looking around. Beautiful sounds of birds as well, if you can take that a moment of silence. beautiful sound. So it looks like all happy birds all giving a whole contact calling, systems. So, but I'm going to go back to these tracks and continue with this track, see if we can get to find this leopard before too hot. Get you guys update afterwards.
Jumbo everyone, look what I have here on my side of the world. A very cold, fluffy bird. This is the white-browed kookal. It's a bird that loves the undergrowth, but today I found it very high up in the tree. I think it's trying to catch that much needed sun. Yeah, it's a very high up, if you see that, and it's on top of a bosia tree. That is the view that we have here. Normally you'd find it very, very low in the shrubs. Tries to hide as quickly as you see it. So it's nice to see it up there. Good morning everyone, my name is Isaac and on camera I have Bungei. This morning we are on a mission to look for Jasiri and some cats. But we've come to our first stop here and there is nobody apart from the beautiful view that you see here of Olololo Syria escarpment and some people having fun on the balloon a long ways back, over there. And apart from that is just the sounds of frogs and birds. I don't know if you can hear them. That is the kind of environment I'm in. It's such beautiful, the air is so fresh. And I'm hoping to find some lions either up on a mound, on a high point, trying to dry themselves and catching the morning sun. I'm going to try and find them, and while I do that, let's take you to another live location.
I'm completely melting with love right now for this little gorgeous thing. Now, it's not going to be so easy. We've both got our binoculars out on this vehicle to try and look at these smaller features. Now, first, if you look around her face, you can see that very, very slowly the facial disc is starting to emerge. Now, the facial disc is that arrangement of feathers that gives owls a really unique appearance, and it has a function. It's for their hearing, but you can see that very, very slowly that's starting to appear. Now, if we just go down slightly, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it from... I can't see it anymore, can you? Okay, we did have a view of what looked like the emergence of primary feathers. Now, the primary feathers are the feathers for flight. And of course, she's not flying anywhere right now, but at some point they're going to have to come through. They're very, very rigid and structured, of course, because they're for flight. And I think we saw the very, very tip of them emerging, but now I can't see what I was looking at earlier. So I'm just going to show you the diagram again. Now, this is the same diagram as before, because the next diagram is day 16, which, of course, I don't believe we're at day 16 yet. So I'm just going to show you the one that we showed before, just to go over it as a complete repetition. But here we have it. So this is said to be day 12. And you can see that the chick should be able to stand. Not the entire day, but at some point, the chick needs to work those leg muscles. They also need to develop. Now, this is what I think we see the most, the squatting position. Now, of course, she's sleeping right now. But when she's awake, she's squatting. So the legs are bent. And you can see here, this part here, is the emergence of flight feathers, and I think that's what we can see right at the bottom of the wing there. This is maybe a better diagram down here to see that. This thing here, the very, very start of the flight feathers popping through. And you can see the facial disc is starting to emerge. And I think this is roughly where we're at, give or take. And she looks a bit like a snowman right now. But otherwise, I really do think we're round about this stage. And when, in the next day or two, I'll have the next stage of development ready for you. It'd be nice if she opened her eyes, but she's very, very much asleep. Mum's obviously not returned yet. It would be so nice to see Mum come back to her. Oh. And many of you still ask, is it male or female? We do not know, and we still do not know to this day whether Sebwig was male or female. LJ? Nothing at this stage. What Olivia's relying on right now is camouflage, just blending into the background, being very quiet. Now you can see she's up on an embankment. So she's way above eye level, which is great for the camera, actually. She's almost on par with the camera, so that's why we're getting such views of her. So you can see she really blends in, and she's up the steep embankment of the Mulwati, which is our dry riverbed, not the leopard. We also have a leopard called Mulwati, which was slightly confusing at times. So at this stage, nothing, but normally Mum comes back during the day to stand by her side and defend her, as well as feed her and scrape away her droppings, shall we say. I got asked a question on what happens to their defecation, and Mum just literally scrapes it away, pushes it away down the side of the embankment for hygiene purposes. So at this stage, not much, I'm afraid. She's very vulnerable, she's very weak, she can't fly, she most likely can't really walk. She can stand, but I don't think she'll be walking anywhere. It'll happen very, very quickly. Within a week, we'll see great changes. Erica, spotted eagle owls can lay anywhere between 1 to 4 eggs. But on average, they are said to lay around 2 or 3. So I don't know how many eggs she laid, but I do believe Steve found one that had rolled down the embankment. So it seems like there was more than one. However, last year we only saw Sebwig, and this year we only see Olivia. So it will be dependent on the area, it'll be dependent on the individuals, but of course with this spotted eagle owl pair that we see here, one seems to be the prime or the ideal sort of number of chicks to raise. It's a lot of investment, a lot of energy. Both male and female invest in the parental care. Although the male is not standing by the nest at the very, very start when the chick first hatches, he's out hunting, getting food for both mom and baby. And that's also an investment. That's also taking care of your offspring. So they can lay anywhere between 1 to 4 eggs. But for this particular monogamous pair, 1 seems to be the ideal number. And Sebwig was such a success, I imagine Olivia will be too. She's so precious. Starlight, you're asking what is sticking out in front of her? FC might have to help direct that question. I'm not sure if you're just referring to her wing. She just bent it. She just moved it. That's her left wing. And she's sort of curled it around her to keep warm. Or there's a stick there. I'm not sure what you're referring to. FC said I'm correct. I'm guessing it's the wing then. So yes, spotted eagle owls have very, very large wings compared to their body size. And again, this has a function. It's to help them be the masters of silent flight. all part of their hunting strategy. So she just sort of curls her left wing around because it has a joint, just like our elbow, the bird version of an elbow, and she's wrapped it round her body. It was rather chilly. I think it was quite a chilly night. She does just look like a snowman, a bird snowman. I don't think she could be any more snug if she tried. Because Mom's not here, so she can't sort of nestle into Mom for warmth. She's only got herself, so she's wrapped her wings around. But she will need to stretch them at some point. She'll need to open them, she'll need to move. And it would just be so lovely to see Mom arrive back. I'm tempted to stay to see if we can see that happen and we might actually witness some feeding. That would be really, really, truly wonderful to see. Oh. She's very large. I know it might be tricky to see sort of on screen to get an idea of the size, but she's a really large chick. And I'm well aware that saying she is probably misleading, but in the English language we only have he, she or it really, and I think it's just better to use a term rather than saying it. So we're temporarily going with she, but I'm also well aware that it could be a male. Lisa, you're asking how old until she starts vocalizing. I'm trying to remember when we saw Sebwig doing his first little sounds last year. And it's as you can see, she's born very altricial. And normally it's only 21 days, which is 3 weeks, until she starts feeding properly. And Mom doesn't need to sort of break it down for her. And then she starts to leave the nest anywhere between 1 month and 1.5 months. And when I say leave the nest, she's not really going to disperse. I just mean leave this area. This is a natal area. And then she'll move. And most likely she won't move too far. And then any time after 1.5 months, she'll start exploring her own body. Exploring with her vocalizations, exploring with her talons, which she'll discover she has, exploring with her wings, and I think after 2 months she'll start to attempt to fly. So it's a bit of a process. We're hoping to catch it all on camera, but I'm sure she doesn't properly vocalize. I'm not sure if she makes small little sounds here, but she doesn't properly vocalize until she leaves the nest. She can only leave this nest when she's strong enough to stand, can hold up her sort of head, can move her wings until she can be a lot more mobile. So we've got a little bit to go until that happens. But then she will vocalize because she needs to communicate with Mom. So what happens is Mom won't always stay right next to her. They can be on opposite sides of the Mulwati, for example, but they'll communicate to each other through vocalizations. So any time after 1.5 months, I think we'll start to hear small vocalizations. Jim, I think it just depends, really. It's normally only after 10 days that Mum will start to leave. We're definitely past the 10-day mark here. And at the very start, when the chick is just a few days old, she'll rarely leave the chick's side. She will move just to sort of stretch her wings during the day and defecate. She herself will not defecate anywhere near the nest. And after 10 days, she starts to leave. And just like any mother, I guess, that time gets longer and longer. So maybe on the first day, she just leaves for an hour. Maybe the second day, she leaves for 2 hours. But she does need to help the male with hunting. She also needs to ensure that Olivia gets independence. So I'm really not sure the exact length of time, but it will get longer and longer each day until Olivia is completely on her own for most of the time, with mum and dad just nearby. But normally mum sort of comes back to roost during the day, as owls do. So that's why I was hoping that maybe we could see mum come back and arrive at the nest. I think that would be really, really magical. You see that white thing just underneath? That's her leg. Her gangly long legs. Okay, we might sit tight a little bit longer to try and see if we can spot mum, and then we will move on.
Welcome back to the Mara, where I'm still on the lookout. I'm still on the search for cats. I can only see hippo tracks. So when it's wet, it's easy to know what use the road. So I can only see hippo tracks. I'm trying to see if lions use this road. But so far, I can't see any lion tracks, no hyena tracks. So when it has rained, sometimes it becomes difficult to find the cats. I can only see old hyena tracks, so giraffe poop there. So this side to the left is occupied by the Ngala Pride, and this is Owino. So I'm driving to see if I can get a glimpse of those cats. We haven't seen the Owinos for quite a long time. I'm hoping to find them this morning, but with this kind of cold, I highly doubt, but you never know. It's been very cold over here. You can see the clouds on the edge of the escarpment, right straight in front of me. Very, very beautiful. Still on my search for lions and other cats. I'm linking you over to another live location.
Well, Jumbo, welcome to my corner of wilderness. And here I have two very beautiful and rarely seen grey kestrel. This is a pair. These birds belong to the falcon family. You can see a lot of resemblance. If you look clearly, the head, the beak, and look at how beautiful they are. They're just taking in the morning sun. I hope they stay for a little bit longer. Looks like the one to the right is the female. They tend to be slightly bigger. They pair for life, these birds of prey. And from where they are, they can see very long ways. They don't hunt from one perch like other eagles. They will chase their prey. Usually the biggest things they can catch is a dove or a pigeon, but they go for smaller birds and also insects. From where they are, they're very, they can see very, very far, up to 5 kilometers away. Remember, they have binocular vision, so they are able to see very, very far. They also do migrate out of Africa to other European countries. So we have it here, but it does also migrate. Look at how beautiful they are. I haven't seen one in quite a long time, and it's actually a bonus to see two together. I hope it turns so we can see the face. Yeah, turn you around, we need to see you. Yeah, I can see the bright yellow ring on the eye, the yellow cere. That's the key skin behind the beak. They're equipped with very, sharp talons and also a hooked and sharp beak for tearing and also, killing whatever they get. That's what they use. From where they are, I'm sure they can really see me, and they're getting a little bit wary. I don't know if they spotted something to the left, because they're really focused on that side. I cannot tell. They have amazing eyesight, so I don't know what they see to the left. Surprisingly, on the same tree, I could see another bird, and they do normally feed on it. And I don't know what's doing there, but it's below and very, very alert. That's a ring-necked dove. They also pair for life and are very common in many places. Is that Kestrel? Is it mating season for them? They mate year-round, wherever is they're ready. So they don't have a specific season, the Kestrels. Yeah, they do. When they get ready, they just mate. But when they mate, one has to take care of the egg and stay behind. But when you see them like this, it means that they're not breeding. They just maybe just weaned their previous chick, and now it's time to regain some much needed energy, take care of themselves before they, mate again or they breed again. Looks like the male has left, and now we have the female. They're usually very gray. Looks like it's almost black, but actually it's very, very gray Kestrel. I don't know where the other one went, but maybe it has seen something. Also, they were taking in the much needed sun this morning. It has rained the whole night, and most birds need to dry their feathers very early in the morning before flying off. That dove maybe knows something they've eaten, so doesn't care. But usually they'll go off for it when they're really, really desperate, or desperate times. That's when they really go for them. But at this stage, it looks like everybody's trying to dry their feathers. Makes life easy to fly, and also and they can fly fast when it's the feathers are dry. Well, that's a live tree. Looks like it's very dry, but that's how it looks. I'm gonna move on. Let's take you to another live location.
We have who I think is Papa Wahlberg's. He was in a much better position. He's just moved, and I'm sure the dark morph is the male in this monogamous pair. And this is a nest that we have in the Milwaukee. It's just south of Sedgwick's house, but far enough apart, don't worry. And the Wahlbergs obviously come here. Now, there was movement in here the other day, and I really couldn't see. We've got a tiny monitor, and we're very far away. Couldn't see whether it was the chick or the adult. Some of you said it was the adult, some of you said chick. I'm really not sure. It could just be mum. Mum's a pale morph. I don't see any movement inside the nest right now, but Papa's there. He's looking down on the nest. And just as I mentioned with Olivia, it's also a high level of parental investment for male and female in the couple. Males don't have to lay the eggs, obviously they don't, but there's other ways that they can care for their young. Whether it's defending the nest, whether it's building the nest, whether it's bringing food to mom and chick. There's all sorts of level of parental care, especially within birds. And with the Wahlbergs, they normally only have one chick. So I imagine there's one sitting inside that nest. You see the tuft of hair? Very key feature of a Wahlberg's there. Bedhead. So with the Wahlbergs, the male provides most of the food, if not all of it. And brings it back, and what happens is the female tears it up. Obviously too big chunks of meat would be too big for a little chick, so the female tears it up and then feeds it to the chick. So it's both of them putting a lot of effort in. The male has to hunt. He has to hunt additionally because he's got extra mouths to feed. There we go. That's a better view. Oh, do you think we should go forward a little bit? Okay, I'm just going to go forward and see if we can get a better shot of what he's doing. No? Okay. I wonder if he's looking down proudly, aren't you? I wish this nest was a little bit lower. It's very high up. It's nothing like Sedgwick's nest. Oops, sorry. There's definitely either an egg or a chick in there. I've seen movements on quite a few days. I do think there's a chick. I'm sure I came down and witnessed a pale morph, who I believe to be mom, feeding. I wonder if we get a better view if we go forward. Okay, we're going to go forward just another half a meter. Here we go. How sweet. Now, normally you find within monogamous pairs, real monogamy in birds, that there's a high level of paternal care because you're not putting so much energy into looking for the ladies or trying to mate with as many different females as possible or advertising yourself like the weavers. You're not building 50 nests per season like the weavers are and then destroying them and then building again. You're not getting a breeding plumage. So there's lots of energy you save when you choose to be part of a monogamous pair in birds. Well, you don't choose, but you know what I mean. And therefore, you can put a lot more energy into rearing the chicks. And the opposite also applies. So if you're like a weaver, a village weaver, for example, and you spend your meal and you're not monogamous, you spend all your time advertising, displaying, calling, building nests, getting your breeding plumage, then you can be rest assured that there's absolutely zero paternal care. Oh, what a lovely sighting. I don't think we're going to get to see what's inside, but I drive past here every day and it's just lovely to see one of the adults there. Didn't quite catch that name, but you're asking about the Wahlberg's predators. Now, obviously, they are apex predators themselves. They're a raptor. You just need to look at that beak, and, well, you can't see the talons, but they have very, very sharp talons. But their predators will be quite similar to the spotted eagle owl, if you like, in that larger raptors, much bigger birds would probably attack them, given the chance. Oh. I wish I could see what he's doing. And snakes. Snakes on the ground and in the tree would be a predator. He's clearly pulling something with his beak, but I can't quite see what he's doing. Looks like he's... Maybe this... I don't know if this is the female, actually. I'm sure we've got two pairs. And I'm sure in the Mulwati pair, the dark morph is the male. But if any of you know differently, please do let us know. I wonder if there's some food there. It's been torn up. You see that? Lovely birding morning. I forgot to say the hyena den was not active, as I'm sure you all guessed, but I did check, so I'm going to bumble on and see what else I can find.
When you miss out on big game, then birds can come out handy. Now back here we have our elephants, and they're slowly walking from the escarpment. You can see the tiny calf walking alongside mom, while the rest of the calves are slowly picking their pace because the grass is soft. There's much water there. So you see that they will not just straightly head to the marsh right now because there's lots of water there. So at least they have plenty and the grass is soft. You can actually see them pulling the grass, which is easy because of how wet and soft it is. There's more walking into the frame. Aston, 4 years old, thank you so much for your question. Why do elephants have tusks? So the tusks come in handy because they use that as a tool for digging. They use that as a tool for peeling off bark from trees. Elephants are browsers and grazers, so when there is no grass, you'll find them going out to find nutrients from trees, and where they peel off the bark from trees, sometimes those tusks come in handy to break also the trees. So the reason why they have tusks is to help them out in doing whatever the trunk cannot do, especially when they're digging for mineral, they're digging for water, and they're also peeling the bark of trees. So that is the main purpose of that. And sometimes also they use that to defend against other elephants, where they use as a tool of fighting. Emily, the largest herd I've seen here in the Mara is about 164. I counted 164 individual elephants all together. That was about 3 years ago, and it was a very nice sighting because I watched them cross the Mara River to the other side. So I was on the other side of the river. I watched this big herd, thought that they were all coming to drink, but all of a sudden they all started crossing. 164 individuals. When elephants have young calves, they walk in a very slow pace for the young ones to keep up. And sometimes when the young ones are tired, the entire family will stop to graze. And that's the role of the matriarch, to identify or to single out who's tired so that they can all wait and then carry on. You can see how white their tusks are. It's because of the rain. You can see how dark they are on their body. It's because they're all wet. So our short rains are now here, where they'll carry on for about 4 to 5 weeks. Call that the November-December rains, our short rains, and then our long rains will come end of February through May. So these short rains come in very handy for elephants and other wildlife that are around this area, because there's constant supply of water and the grass is fresh, soft, and easy for them to graze. Clown, thank you for your question. The task will start showing when the elephant's about 2 years old. Sometimes you can see when they're about 18 months. But always there's what we call milk tusks. So the milk tusks show when they don't really show, but they grow from when they're about a year old. But they start showing out when they're about 2 years old. Those two are young males, and always males will be adventurous, and they're always left out when the entire herd is grazing, walking together, because this is their nature. One day after they reach adolescent, they'll have to walk away from this herd, and they'll join a big mature bull, where they'll learn from the bull. And once in a while, they always come to the natal herds, where they'll come visit their sisters, their mothers, and even their cousins, and then carry on with the older bull. Most of the time you find that young female at that age will always follow the matriarchs. They follow the matriarch because they learn from the matriarch on how to cope up with the herd, and eventually how they will graduate from teenage to when they will give birth to their own calves, simply because they never leave the natural herds. So young males will always be out or on the fringes of the herds, where they'll always be adventurous. Sometimes you see them chasing one another, trunk wrestling. And this is a good bond that they always create and make, because eventually when they become old bull, they'll always be together like that. So I'll go look for a bigger herd, see if I'll be successful, because it seems like a nice morning to watch elephants grazing as I take you over to another live location.
From elephants, who are the largest land mammal here and also in the world, to second, the hippo. And this guy, he hangs around the marsh. There's a specific spot he likes, and looks like he's busy catching the last bit of grass before he hides in the bushes. You can tell that he's starting to sweat. That is a mucary secretion, we call it blood sweat. Acts like sunblock, so he doesn't get sunburned, which could cause him to dehydrate, which could lead to serious consequences, even death. But he's comfortably grazing towards some water. Hippos are very dangerous, so you'd rather avoid them by all means. They're very fast, very heavy, and can actually outrun most people. I can tell he's starting to graze faster. I think he's had me. He wasn't grazing like that. You remember, they don't ruminate, the hippos, but they take in their food, and it takes quite a good number of days for it to go, through the system. He's catching up now, trying to get away from me. Can tell, he's almost red. That is what is called the blood sweat. They secrete that to help assist the skin so it doesn't get that sunburn. Yes, hippo skins are very thick, almost 2 centimeters. And in Kenya we call them kiboko. Kiboko means a cane. They used to make canes out of them because they're very thick. It's got very few predators. When it's big like this, only lion and a very big pride of them only can bring it down. So it's immune when it's this big. That's why they're all alone. Out of water, they are solitary, but when they get back to the river, they are gregarious. And over there, we have Cape buffalo, another grazer. Looks like a small bachelor herd. A bachelor consists of males from 1 to around 15. Always very inquisitive. They'll stand there, look at you, but that guy looks like he's enjoying the morning sun as he chews his cud. Yeah, looks like he's in a very happy world. Eyes closed. There is enough safety with all the other buffaloes around. Butterfly, could you repeat your question? Do hippos what? Sorry, I didn't get that completely. If you could rephrase it, I'd like to answer you. It's about hippo. Do hippos cry? I hope I got that question right. Do hippos cry? Well, I don't think so. I don't think they cry. If it's crying, I don't think they cry, but they do feel emotions immediately if they lose their loved ones, especially females, but they forget very quickly. So that is the only thing that, I don't think will make them cry. But I've never seen a hippo cry. I live to be corrected, and maybe one of my other guides know more than me. I don't know. They don't cry. I'll go as, with they don't cry. Look at the small eyes. In water, you don't need very big eyes, so that is an adaptation they have. Also, the small ears. He's listening to me. Very alert now. The gnawing, the opening of the mouth is a threat. He's not happy. And now he has to leave this area. He's not happy anymore. They walk with their muzzle or the nose almost touching the ground. With hippos, I can never guess, I can never tell myself. You only can tell when they are very young because of the size, but once they are fully grown, it's very difficult to tell the age. Of course, they do live for over 30 years, but I cannot tell you the age of this one at all. It's very difficult. It's an animal that we rarely see out of water, although we do get chances like this because we come out very early as they go back towards water. But you need to be with them for as long, I think about 20 years to understand how to age them. He's not happy at all. When lifting the head like that and looking sideways is always a sign that you're not needed around there. And if you're ever in Africa and see that and you're on foot, try to get away. This is an animal, although it's very big, can run very, very, very fast. You cannot outrun it. And I always remind everybody that it's got 4 legs, you have 2. So you better, try not to be on its way. Most cases or fatalities caused by these animals are usually caused when you're caught in between them and water, because they're always seeking refuge in the water. And so if they catch you on their way back to the water, that is a very serious spot. And you can tell he's heading away. I've given him, enough space so that he can get Marianne, yes, quite a good number of them. I've had, some instances with them. Of course, when you're walking as a safari guide out here in the plains, definitely one day you come across them. Yes, I've had a handful of experiences. None of them were good, and so I have a very good experience about them and a lot of respect for this huge animal. He's going farther towards the bush, and I think that's where he hides. He has become a common to me, this guy. He's not as shy as the first time I saw him. So we let him, get back to the bush. Gonna try. It's nice, to have seen him out of water this far. And it's always the case, if you're out and about very early in the morning, you'll catch such animals going back to the river. We had lots and lots of rain, and so maybe where he normally resides in a pool, there was a flash flood, and he's very smart to wait it so that the water subsides and so it's comfortable for him to be, you know, in the water. They also don't like, you know, very high water. There's something here really special. I don't know if it's gonna wait for us. Yeah, there we go. They're leaving. Okay, maybe we get to see one. Yeah, this is the African green pigeon. Look at them, so beautiful. Yeah, those are green pigeons. You rarely get to see them out in the open like this. Yeah, as they leave, I'm gonna leave also. Let's take you to another live location.
Somebody has to be... Right, welcome everyone back. So we are now update about the leopard track we were following. So what happened, we had a glimpse of the Luxakatlamba, and then she's actually on move so much. So there's 3 vehicles in now and there, but you know, it looks like she's behind the male, which we also saw the track of a male in the area, heading in the same direction where she's at right now. So once it's a space, we're gonna get in there, but she's never static, so it looks like she's really much behind that. I think might be a Mlowati male that I heard of. So once it's a space, we're gonna go back in, trying to follow up on her as well. And then she's not actually on hunt, what I heard from the guys. It's been a lot of impalas in the area, and then she's not actually interested on that or even birds or anything. She just wanna probably find that Mlowati male. I believe he also must be around here. So we're on the road right now. You know, hopefully she come towards us, or we get a gap to return back to there to follow up. It's quite thicket out here. Guys are trying harder actually to keep that sighting going. Hopefully they don't really lost her, because it's going to be another work to able to track leopard on move and doing its duty to locate the male. So I'm just going to listen to the radio here, whether they call us in to have a look again.
Well, more of those birds that we just saw briefly, the green pigeons. This is a bird that loves fruit, and you mostly find it if you have fig trees. They love fig trees. So colorful. They have that metallic green, or you know, call it fluorescent green. You have black, a bit of red or pink on the beak, and looks like they are very happy. They are in their happy place. This tree is very frequented by birds. Yeah, that's the other one you see to the left top, the one facing to the, I don't know how to point it out, that one there. That is yellow bulbul, yellow vented bulbul, or yellow lamped bulbul. It's a very noisy bird, found all over Africa, and they mainly feed on insects and fruit. Very much the same to the green pigeon. Look at how many we have here. Those are cattle egrets flying away. Yeah, this is a perfect tree for them early in the morning to come and sunbathe. Much needed after heavy rains, heavy storm last night, before they decide where to go. These birds know very well where to go at different times of the year, and here they don't have it that bird because there's always a tree fruiting somewhere. Either a magic guarri tree, an African olive tree, a fig tree, a Umbegi ugandensis tree. Always there's a tree fruiting somewhere, so they know where to go. Right now, the biggest issue is to dry themselves so that they can get to that tree without using much energy, because the feathers, when they're dry, they're much lighter. It's easier to fly. Yeah, these ones have never been domesticated, and I hope they don't. They're really, really wild, but the size of a pigeon or a dove that we have at home. Look at that, the light is so beautiful. And looks like any moment they will start flying. I can see some of them are very alert. Just beautiful to see them out like this. You really get to see them out in the open. I don't know if I have their call to remind you how, their call sounds like. But it's always nice to see a rare bird that is rarely seen out in the open. Yeah, it's that's the call that they make. Well, the sounds, there's all two sounds there. The one that's going kee, that is not them. The one that's going to, that is the African green pigeon. And they usually sound like that when they're very happy. They're very well fed. Look at them all cleaning. It's like cleaning business here. Their main prey is mostly small birds of prey like Geba, goshawk, shikra. Those ones are the ones that really go for them. Falcons, also the peregrine and the lana, also some kestrels will go for them. So those are their enemies, and that's why the trees they feed on are always very thick on top. So to get through for a bird of prey is very, very difficult. And they're not threatened or endangered. They're doing very, very well all over Africa. Look at that, beautiful. Tree they found very dry. Very closely there is the Rupholfia caphra, or the quinine tree to the right, with the very thick leaves. So in case of danger, they can quickly fly inside there, and with the green colors, they can easily disappear. Black cat, you say they seem to love dead tree. It's not common for them to be out in the open like this, but here there is a very thick green tree closely. So in case of danger, they can quickly fly there, but it's not common to see them out in the open like this. It's just that chance that, we have found them here. It is not that common. That's why I had to stop and reverse quickly so that we could see them. And also they have given us so much time. It's unbelievable. Normally they take off very quickly, but also I think we're lucky we have a long lens camera so we can zoom in from a distance without disturbing them. But definitely here they're preening themselves. They're taking care of the skins, peeling skin. Also, if they have some insects, they're trying to get rid of them, getting rid of old feathers. Sometimes the beak has to remove them, and that is what they're doing. Very busy. It's It's a small pigeon town or village. I know this is very beautiful and lovely. I could stay here for a little bit longer, but let me try and find Jasiri. I'm on a mission to find him. And let me leave you with that beautiful sight as I get ready to move on. Good morning and welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. Another beautiful morning after that dramatic storm that we had last evening. Our temperatures today are looking in their 20s. My name is Obakeng, and behind the camera there we've got Dave doing a very excellent job. You see me walking around here. What we are trying to do is try and find the meerkats, to be specific, to find the rock stars. It looks like there's been a bit of a squabble and a quarrel amongst them, but we're gonna try figure out what happened exactly. Maybe a change in barrows, or maybe a split in the group. We don't know. We'll see how the story unfolds. We'll still keep tracking on these meerkats. So on that note, I am going to be driving a little bit further, check other barrows and see what happened. The good thing is there has been a little bit of drizzle, so everything else that we are picking, or every track that we are picking, would be fresh and we would know it was just after the rain. So I'll keep driving and we'll keep you informed. And while we do that, we'll send you over to another very beautiful location in Africa.
Meerkats always excite me, and it's very, very nice watching them. Now back here we have our elephants, who seem like a very big herd compared to the one that we saw earlier. Very, very nice and cool to see. You can see the matriarch always doing her super job, leading all these individuals to one area, and I'm sure the area that she's leading them is towards the marsh. You can see there's a close resemblance in task formation, so it tells you that almost all these individuals are closely related, because you can see they are slightly slanting or turned up. That's the lead matriarch. So this is actually two herds who've come to join each other, and sometimes elephants form what we call bond groups. So those bond groups will always split up when these families become big, depending on environmental factors. And you find that once in a while they'll always come back together and meet each other, join each other, and then carry on back to the activity. So the bond group, when they split up, the matriarchs are always sisters, and then whoever breaks into or joins a certain herd are all blood relatives. So I find that sister, brothers, cousins will not always join together, but sister and the young calves and the young females, consisting of maybe sometimes 20, 30, because it seems like a very big herd here, will always join and form a herd and walk together following the matriarch who they always choose. It's interesting that sometimes they come into what we call a voting session, where they'll always pick whoever they want to be the matriarch, but most of the time we find that the oldest female from the matriarch always take charge to be the matriarch. You can see how this herd has slowly split up, and the ones to the right slowly join each other, while the ones to the left are ready, carrying on. Cattle egrets are doing their usual, following these big herds to eat the insects that are disturbed by the elephants. Tackle, I would say a lion pride consisting of more than 15 or 16 individuals can be able to take down an elephant that size. But here we have lions that have not specialized in taking down elephants. We have places where lions consist of about 30 or 20 and above individuals who specialize in taking down elephants. But yes, if lions from 15 or either 20 can be able to take down not a mature elephant, but a teenage elephant. Just listen to how they're plucking the grass. Jane, thank you for your question. What happened? Because they have matriarchs, and who are the leaders, who are the key role of this entire herd. So they have very, very good memories where they know where to take them for water, where they know to take them for forage. So it only all depends on the matriarchs who will lead them to where there's food supply and also minerals. So the survival rate of a herd depends on the matriarch. It's a nice place to sit and enjoy these elephants as they are slowly grazing. I'll take you over to another live location.
From elephants to elephants, and I have my own very private herd here, and there is some magic. There is a new baby. Look at the little guy. About 4 days ago, after the show, we were driving back, me and Bungay. We saw an aftermath of an elephant, and we knew it was elephant. And I think this is the guy. He's only about 4 days old. Look how small he is. Walking tightly and closely to mom, because she's the only one she knows at the moment, although everybody else is staying very closely. This is a herd that can be very dangerous because of the little guy. They're very, very protective. So this is the newest miracle we have of all the females that I've been saying are pregnant. This is one of the calves for, from that result. It's drinking. You can tell it's even it's too short to reach for the nipple. Yeah, very, very small. Look at that. Yeah, that is the newest arrival that we have. Always nice to see calves like this. I can tell that they're trying to get away from me. They want their privacy with their little one, the newborn. Lee, can an elephant touch its tail with its trunk? Interesting question. I've never seen them do it. And I think it's a no. They cannot. It might seem like they can reach, but I think they cannot touch. I've never seen them do it. The way, how it is placed, the trunk, by the time it stretches behind the ears, it's already short. And the tail can only go upwards and sideways, so it's impossible. It cannot. But that is a very interesting question. Thank you. Yes, the guys are heading away as far as possible with their newborn. Look at, the size. You can tell how small it is. That was in its mama's tummy for 22 months. That is the gestation period. And now it's a beginning of a very long life, 65 to 70 years. It will stick with its mom if it's a female. If it's a male, it might split from the age of about 8 onwards and join a bachelor herd. You can see how they're surrounding it for security reasons. They want it to feel comfortable and secure in its first few days on the ground. Look at it. Luckily, where they are, there is plenty of algebra girl. How do elephants protect their feet from sharp objects on the ground? Interesting question also. Mind you, there's very few sharp things here out in the bush. The only sharp things that would be there would be bones, but they're very few. Also, sharp rocks are not very common, and they don't have any way to protect them. But nature has dictated so that they don't get injuries. There is no sharp objects here, so they're very safe and immune from many sharp objects that are not found here. Algebra girl. Yeah, they headed slowly away, deeper and deeper towards the marsh. It's a beautiful and a good heaven for many elephants. There's always plenty to eat and drink, including different types of grasses. So it's a beautiful spot to take the little guy. You can see the size of the little guy, it's really, really small. At birth, they can weigh up to 120 kilos. Still much heavier than most of us. And the weight gain is very rapid, very, very rapid in the first few months. With all the rich milk it takes from its mom, it grows very, very fast. The thick forest behind there is where the Mara River is. Yeah, as they go, telling us goodbye, I'll say let them disappear, and then I'm gonna move on to find something else. Let's find out what another location has for us.
Welcome back to this other side of the Mara, and slowly you can see the herds have left. So the ones at the back are actually walking slowly because there's plenty of grazing ground, there's plenty to feed on. After the rains, the fresh shoots that pop up on the ground really makes it a feeding haven for all these elephants walking down towards the marsh. young calves will always follow their moms, and they never stay away from them, especially the females, because they actually have to follow their behavior. They have to follow how to conduct the activity as compared to the young boys, who will always be adventurous, always playful. But this will one day in future become big females that will always be watching over their calves and tending over to the entire population or the entire group that will be in this herd. So they have to follow their mothers keenly to observe what's going on. And always the last ones are young males. Young bulls will always be left behind. Sometimes you find that when the herds have moved on long distance away, they'll slowly start catching up. You can see that's an adolescent, and they're soon almost graduating from being in this herd, heading over to start their own bachelor groups, following a big bull. At the age of about 11 to 17, that's when they'll head out of these herds. And slowly they've already singled themselves out and forming a bachelor, semi-bachelor group, where you find those three together will hang on like that for their entire life. But as I said earlier, once in a while they'll always be coming back to visit the members of their families. It's always very interesting what kind of life young males or males follow or go through once they've left the natal herds. So these three, when they've left these herds, you find that the old bull will always accommodate them because they're solitary and easily to tame these younger bulls, because they depend on the company and the mentorship of those old bull. Because at the moment, they don't have that etiquette on how to carry on with their lives. So they need that mentorship from old bulls once they graduate from here. So slowly they'll start walking back, following the family, because they still need their mothers at the moment. So as I wait these bulls to slowly join the herd, let me take you over to another live location.
Now we are on First Rock in Torchwood, and it's absolutely beautiful. We're so lucky to be able to come here now, and we're just admiring a giant plated lizard who is clearly, well, it's got the right idea. Being a reptile, in order to start your day, there's only one thing you have to do, and that is sunbathe. It's so important. You're not going to be able to run, escape predators, hunt, if you don't get that glorious vitamin D and the sun's rays. Now it's quite far away. Oh, here we go. We're moving. The reason we're in Torchwood is Mulwati was on the dam cam last night, and I'm not sure if you've seen Andrew yet, but he's having a very hard time keeping up with Klalamba. She's very, very busy, and it appears that Mulwati was following Klalamba. Interestingly enough, I think Rex spotted him and off he went, which is typical Mulwati style, and we followed his tracks into Torchwood. I don't know why the dominant male leopard that we have in the area is probably one of the worst to track and follow. I don't know why he is this skittish. Apparently he's more relaxed at night. And of course we have had him a few times. James had him on a warthog kill, and Tristan and Steve had him mating with Shidulu. But he's nothing like Dingana or Klangula. He's very, very difficult and skittish around vehicles. But we've came into Torchwood anyway, and you never know, we might get a sight of him. Imagine being a reptile and being so limited by your environment. The sun controls your daily activity. You can't just pick up and move when you want. You can't migrate. You can't cross countries and borders for greener pastures, unless you're a sea turtle. When it gets too cold and the ambient temperatures are not working for you, you either have to, well, you have to estivate. You have to go dormant. Oh, there's elephants running over there. Can you see them? I wonder where they're going. This is why First Rock is perfect, because it's such a vantage point. I wonder if they're making their way to water. Wow, they're all streaming out from the left there. We can see them all coming out. Just go a little bit to the left. I just want to try and see if I can figure out where they're going before we move the car, but I think they're going to water. Maybe we should follow. That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, if they're going to water, this could be such a lovely sighting. They're quite far off in the distance, but we can just see their great there. So we're going to try and follow. And see if they go to a water point. Either that or they're moving away from something that they don't like. Could be Mulwatis somewhere in this area. Just where, we do not know. So fingers crossed we managed to catch up with the elephant herd.
Hopefully. So we now still around here where that the lumber, she was moving around in a drainage line system, and they probably lost her moving into very difficult stuff. They couldn't keep up with her, and we even listened to squirrels alarming, calling everywhere. And then it could be that she's still behind that male. That was the tracks was seen also heading in the same direction where she was found. Also stopping here with this bull giraffe. See if there is anything that giraffe seen around here. But beautiful bull giraffe, so he's busy doing his early breakfast feed as a known of a browser animal, which to feed on tree most instead of grasses. So we found ourselves in this middle of the bush here because we were following a lot of alarm call for the squirrel just to investigate in case there's this leopard again. And that's a full-grown giraffe, looking at the size of him. And then how far he reached to those top trees out there. One of the marula trees. That also, you find marula trees, quite plenty of them around. And all these trees are green up. Make it a lot easier for such a tallest animal to be able to browse free, but comfortably. A leopard wouldn't be really a big threat for a leopard, for a giraffe, but it's still one of the dangerous animals that they're also aware of, and a cat considered as a dangerous animal, but they never see that there's a leopard around here, and they'll freeze, probably watch or keep staring at one position for such a long time, not even moving sometimes. If they ever move when they see a danger, they move away and always come back to the very same spot. And then they've definitely seen something. But at the moment, looks like he hasn't yet, because he's busy feeding. And then this is how he's going to disappear in front of us. Coffee grain morning. So you want to know how many giraffe in this area. So we have quite a few giraffe. I cannot tell you the number total, the whole entire national park, since they are not territorial. So you find mainly different group of giraffe coming in and out. Kruger Park from the North Manyeleti, also south of this reserve. And there sometimes you find enormous size of group of these animals, where they can be anything from 18, sometimes 15, 18, sometimes 8. But of course, there is plenty of them giraffe here. And this species are southern giraffe, only occur in this area where there's a plenty of these species of giraffe. And the only species we found in this area, that's a southern giraffe. And then of course, it's going to disappear from us. But yeah, in number of them total, how many in the park, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to double check that. But number change sometimes. The research bring up the changes quite a lot, because the count of animals only happen once a year. So, but I'm going to have a look at that. And now it disappeared just like that. So we're going to go back to the road again. The squirrels still alarm calling in this area. So I still feel comfortable, or hope that maybe the leopard could be that male Mlowati or Talamba herself, since she was actually moving around in this area quite a lot. So we hope maybe we come right this time. And then it wasn't actually easy for the guys that were following her, because she was also, trying to run away from them, and she sniffed around, vocal, so it sounded that she's actually really behind these males to find him. So yeah, we're just gonna see if we can go back to the road, and then we continue search around here. Hopefully we get luck with what beautiful breeze is Talamba or Mlowati himself. I haven't met him yet. It will be really cool to see him for the first time. Now look at his tracks there. I always mistaken that it could be maybe lionesses, but yeah, it was him. So it's quite big male. Wherever he is right now, it's probably maybe far or round. But the way that female she was contacting sounded like maybe she picked up scent that was probably a recent scent around that she was around it.
Yeah, from giraffe to me here. And this is the area where I last saw Jasiri. He was walking much better and much faster. And I've started from the lower side of the marsh. I didn't see him. So I'm here where I last saw him about 2 days ago. We have permission to show him to you. So I'm really looking forward to finding him and sharing his how he has recovered with you. And so anywhere here, it is very possible to find him. We had come to notice that every time we saw him, he was dragging behind because of the inability to catch up with the rest of the herd. But the last time I saw him, he was really amongst the herd. And that's a good sign, but it also makes it difficult for us not to really pick him up inside the rest of the herd. But I'm hoping that we'll be able, either today or tomorrow, and maybe this morning. There is over there, and maybe Bungei will share it with you. He might be the one to spot, him for us. It's quite a long way. I'll use my binoculars as we share. They're just coming out of the forest there, so it's just a handful of them. Yeah, there is a good number, and it's sometimes hard to see him if he's amongst that many, and also with those many bushes. I don't know if you see them, but it's somewhere over there. Up there. I don't think he's there, so I'm gonna continue on, and we'll share him with you if we do.
Wow, what a sighting like this. So we just left Giraffe, and we thought that Giraffe couldn't see anything. Of course, Giraffe didn't see anything. But we came back to where that squirrel was alarm calling. We drove past here. I think she wasn't around. And amazing, the route that we take in, and then we managed to drive back the same way. And this is how we found her. She's still busy cleaning herself. I believe she hasn't found the male yet. She might actually contact call while we're here. But she has actually lost a lot of her energy, what we saw back there. Because some time she was just running, and then just not running away from the car, but hopefully she somehow picked up the scent of this male, and then probably was close by. It happens, maybe he wasn't really interested in that stage. If it's at a point, it's probably because of he's coming in quite a lot, these male around here. So he's busy with his own patrol maybe. He's gonna probably check his scent marking along his territory, trail boundary, and then hopefully once he's done that, he's gonna be comfortably returned back and follow in his female. It's so amazing of how this cat communicate. For her, wherever that male have went through, she able to track him, and then maybe knowing exactly what male she expecting to find in this area from just scent of smell, that the chemicals left behind, urine. It's got a lot of message there. And she's actually been doing quite a lot of movement. No, day before yesterday, that evening she was seen around quarantine, and then a guy's tracks down there, and there was no luck, couldn't find her. Every time we find leopard track this time, we always keep on focus on tracking down, hoping that wherever that leopard end up to, probably with his kill or her kill. It's quite a lot of impala baby dropping right now. It's very interesting to follow these cats, see how they do. So we're going to be joined by the first vehicle responding here. Since everybody this morning, they were really desperately having a look enough at a leopard, but she wasn't stopping for anybody. Sorry, you want to repeat that question of Anna Marie again? Anna Marie, so you want to know if she's on estrus. It could happen, and it's actually on her prime age. Anything from 3 years old, female leopard, she often start to come on estrus quite often, sometimes for 3-4 days. And then what we've seen here behind the male's tracks, and it's so that she's very interesting on mating, probably, I think. Or could be that she's just wanting to have a male around. It happens sometimes, but only thing is, if she's not in a true estrus, maybe male won't be interested on her because it's a waste of time. Even the mate, then she won't conceive because she's not ready. What you see that happen also on the lions. Mate, but then it's not actually, she won't come pregnancy because then she was not actually on a true estrus. So it's all waste of time. Maybe you give up or move away, but she'll push too much if she wants to be with him. Let's see how she paints. So she's probably slightly tired of moving around in his heels and drainage line system up and down. Didier, so you want to know the difference between a leopard and a puma. So puma, obviously, they are one of the animals that they won't be seen or in a slightly open, we in a savanna land, where, well, I'm not sure where actually puma occurred, probably not around us or close by, but then there's only the difference is these leopards, they are very much, they're slightly bigger than that puma, different coat as well. The puma, they more likely spend a lot of times up in trees, but it's got to be a forest wherever they are. Some can be tame sometimes from that young age. We're hardly to tame leopard. Got to be well brave for that. Or the color as well. They're spotted. Leopard has spot where puma doesn't much have kind of a spot like this. But in terms of hunting methods, it's kind of a similar because also puma do kind of pounce and things. But leopard also, they spend a lot of their time aiming at their target down, and once they know for sure the distance they add between the prey and themselves, pounce, 1 pounce or sometimes 3 step, but they gotta make sure they don't miss that, because the minute they're done first step, this is where the prey species are well alert so much. of being a danger round. You have to do it immediately to get into that position before the prey species vanished. Cleaning her paws, you won't believe this claw coming out of this. All attractive claws, which then actually come out permanently at what comes to in a true cat, when they use this claw for emergency, when they hunt, climb trees, grab animals. Really, you want to know the bird that's calling in the background? So I've been listening to quite a few birds of sound, but there's a sound now carrying on. Those are work harder bird, which is a capped turtle dove. Those work harder, work harder. That capped turtle dove. Well, around this cat right now, only the 3 vehicles on lock, and then it's no such other species that alarming calling for this cat right now, that squirrels have probably went back to the burrow or vanish out of this area for safety. Well, she still have energy enough, just above 3 years old. She was able to hunt anything from squirrel right up in the trees. And they grew up adapted for that from their mother. And see them climb very thin branches right at the top, and they fell down. And that's how they practice to be able to machinery of themselves. If she ever mate with a male around, she only conceive, which she, at any time if she mate, as long as she's on a true estrus, and then she'll conceive, mainly give birth to 1 or 2 cubs, 3 sometimes, but very rare, 3, usually 2 or 1. 2 then maybe found 1 die. And she'll look for probably safe curve in one of these drainage lines, where Djuma is capable of a lot of drainage lines, conjunctions, and it's kind of thicket enough for the cats to be hidden around, give birth underneath of this thicket, raise their baby safely. So sorry everyone. There's like I said, 2 cows, including me, 3. So they also viewing the same animal. We might have had a lot of talk back there and some of a unusual sound. What I see, they're struggling with a visual. I have still visual. If I roll forward, maybe still got a visual. But at that moment, it's very good that she's very static. And then once she started to move, maybe she's going to do the same again and continuously concentrating on that male to find out how far he went. So I'm going to take another moment here. I know it's a busy sighting. If I have another time to be here, then we're able to come back to you soon.
Stand by one, Ketlachvit. What we have here is some bat-eared foxes. It looks like a male and a female that have been just grooming each other there in the shade. Look at the interaction there. Just got away of us now. Oh. As always, being very, very shy when looked at. But it looks like they've just been grooming each other. So cleaning each other and just licking each other and making sure that they're all in nick form. So I'm going to try and move a little bit forward. No, here they come out again. No, maybe try and move forward a little bit. There we go. So you'd find that the den site is not too far. I would like to think that. And they would obviously use these blackthorns for shade during the day like today, and also blocking the wind that's coming through. I see how flat they go. It's a little bit windy here. We're just in the middle of a June street, and obviously it's channeling that wind through the June street.
Welcome back to the Mara. I've actually come across fresh lion prints, and it looks like this lion have cubs. So there's no other lions with cubs around this area, and that's the Owino Pride. So I'm actually following those tracks to see where they're leading us to. Tracks don't lie, and you can tell because they look like about 10 minutes ago. So it seems like this lion could be somewhere around here. So I'm just following keenly this track to see where they'll exit the road and go into the grass, so that I can be able to track them well. Can't see any sign on either side, so I'll just be driving slowly following these tracks and looking for signs out there. Sometimes if there's some other animals, you'll find that they always be staring at where the lions are. So I'm just slowly driving here to see where these tracks are leading. There's some hippo tracks and elephant tracks, but the lion tracks seem to have come to this end here. So I might stop and scan to find out if our lions could be somewhere about here. So I'll need to use my binoculars to look for signs of those lions. It's warming up, so I'm sure these lions will maybe go behind a bush to take cover, because it's getting hot, I can feel. So probably these lions could be somewhere around here. haven't seen those lions for about 2 weeks from now. I'll be glad to find them and see how the cubs are doing, how big they've grown. Because the last time I saw them, those 3 cubs were super playful. So it'd be nice to come across or maybe to find them in good shape. Even though it looks like there's nothing around this area. So I'll still carry on to find our lions because I can still see the footprints. So let me take you over to another live location.
I think we may have a steppe eagle here, everyone. Now, I can't get a good look at the legs. The legs are a bit of a giveaway, but tawny eagles and steppe eagles are very similar. So from a distance, you'd maybe think tawny, but when you get closer and you have a look at the eyes of this individual are quite dark brown. You see that? Whereas in a tawny, they're normally quite yellowish, or they're a lot sort of paler. They stand out. They're not dark. And then if you look at the gape, that's sort of the part of the mouth, that yellow line, call that the gape. And in a tawny eagle, it normally goes to the center of the eye. So it's quite an extended gape, but it sort of is always in line with the middle of the eye. Now, for a steppe eagle, it normally goes behind the eye. And if you look at this gape, when he turns around properly... No. Turn around. It does look like it's extending to the back of the eye. Now, it's tricky. I'm actually going to do a size comparison. The steppe eagle is said to be around 70 centimeters tall and weighs in about 2.75 kilograms. Now, a tawny comes in at 70 centimeters tall, so just marginally shorter, and 1.94 kilograms. So tawny weighs less. The steppe eagle is definitely the much bigger bird, and they both have colour morphs. I'm just going to get my binos out. It's very tricky to tell. The legs are normally a key giveaway because in the steppe eagle, it looks like they're wearing really, really baggy leggings. You know, these baggy workout trousers. Whereas in a tawny eagle, it's not like that. They're very neat, trimmed feathers going down the legs. So I think this is a steppe. Steppes are said to be the largest of the brownie eagles. Wahlbergs, like we saw earlier, are very small. They maybe look big when you're sort of given a close-up view, but they're actually quite small for the eagles. And this particular individual that we're looking at is very large. I wonder if it's not fully an adult. The juvenile has a sort of intermediate, not the juvenile, the immature. Eagles have an intermediate plumage. Hey, you're asking, will this eagle hunt antelope? I don't believe the steppe eagles do. eagles like the martial eagle absolutely do. But for the steppe eagle, they much prefer, they love termites in summer, as many organisms do. And they will go for other smaller birds, and they especially favor eggs or nestlings. So unfortunately, if the steppe eagle did come across Olivia, that would be perfect. But I don't believe they hunt antelope. My morning has turned into a beautiful birding morning, so we are going to continue exploring Torchwood.
Lauren, I think I'm gonna match you up on that one with the morning becoming a birding morning. Look at what we've just found here, a capped wheat eater. For me, it's a very interesting bird. I've always struggled to see these guys. Since I've started here at the Kalahari, this is my third sight of this bird, the capped wheat eater, and I know for most birders this would be definitely going on the list if one had to see it. And it's renowned to be in these arid regions. It's also a ground nesting bird, making a bit of a cup nest. I'm gonna try reverse a little bit here, reposition. It seems like it's territorial here, so it's been displaying every now and then. There we are. Let's see where. It's a little bit difficult, but it will make like these cup nests, and sometimes it will actually make them where rodents have actually dug, and burying it in that rodent's barrow. Up to about a meter deep can these nests be. So a very interesting bird and very rare to see. It looks like it has flown off. Yeah, it just took off. I hope everybody did get a glimpse of that. For me, that is one of the rare ones on my list. So I'm very, very chuffed with finding it this morning. Well, this is what happens when you go looking for meerkats. You find other interesting stuff. Just want to stick around and see if it does show face again. While we still look for meerkats and being hopeful of this magnificent bird coming back, let me send you over to another very beautiful location in Africa.
Well, birds we'll definitely be able to show you, but right now we're going to start with something else. It starts with a B, and that's, of course, buffalo, which have arrived at Leopard Dam to soak in all the morning sun. I wish I was doing that, don't you, BK? Starting the morning Sunday off with a pool party. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is BK, like I said. And we are here at Pridelands Conservancy, which is part of the Lily Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger National Park. But yeah, we have been very, 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 very busy. I'm now going to duck like this so that BK can zoom over the top of my head. We've been tracking a lioness all morning long. She's been on the go quite a bit though. And unfortunately, I think she's crossed out. I think she's popped into Jajani, but I don't think it'll be too long before she heads back this way. So this is the same breeding herd of buffalo that we spent a bit of time with yesterday afternoon, the same herd that we always see. So instead of doing their usual route and heading towards the eco training camp, they've come a little bit further west and are probably going to relax around here. There's also a nice area for the buffalo on a hot day like today. They don't need to go too far from the water's edge. You can see a lot of them have even started just sort of sitting down underneath all the tamboti trees that line the water's edge, and the big boer beans and leadwoods that are casting nice shadows. And yeah, so I reckon that they would have started their morning off quite early, expecting the heat, doing a bit of grazing as they made their way down towards the dam. And I think they'll have a little bit of a siesta now until the middle of the day. Maybe they'll pop down. Perhaps they will come down 3 times to the watering holes. But all seem very relaxed. There was also much commotion, I must tell you, around camp last night. So yesterday morning on the sunrise drive, perhaps you caught it, I told you that BK spotted a leopard very briefly. And that same male leopard came through camp last night. And I wonder, with all the commotion that was going on, that's why the buffalo sort of pushed away from that area, because he was very vocal. It sounded like he was fighting with, I don't know what. I don't know if he maybe encountered Pixie Pan, which is another female leopard, and she's got 2 older cubs. I don't know if there was a bit of a dispute there, but there was much sawing and growling. And then eventually he walked through camp and we headed off to the west. So we saw where his tracks went, and I think he's just sitting up on this basalt ridge that divides Pridelands. Buffalo, just having a drink. Can't see any oxpeckers. I can definitely hear the oxpeckers. Can you hear the oxpeckers? Might also be able to hear a brew calling, that telephone-like sound in the distance. It's all happening here this morning. Right, BK, I think let's carry on. So what we're going to do is, our plan was not to sit here, it was to continue looking for the big cats. So we are going to head around, I think back towards Kilikopi, and just keep scanning that basalt ridge and hope that there is something. Right. So we'll head around this way and then back sort of towards the south, which is where that ridge is. So the last time we heard that male leopard make a bit of noise was at 4 o'clock this morning. So he's been doing a bit of walking around. I would imagine he's lying up now. I'd love it if he would just be lying across a marula branch, but I think that that's wishful thinking. That would be nice. He's not the most relaxed. He was quite skittish yesterday, but who knows? Luckily we've got this great camera with a very long lens, and we might be able to spot him from a distance. So we'll head back there and do a few more loops and laps. Cool. Right. One of my favorite little parts going through this.
Back, everyone. So we actually, that Kalamba, again, she went south, and then we couldn't keep up with her. And then we're still trying to locate if she will come out on one of the road here. The places where she have went to, we couldn't follow through. And then we have another car standing by on the other side, checking if she do come out. So her general direction was south. So you never know, we should probably end up Twin Dam, or if she doesn't change direction, Gary May in that area, maybe she'll cross into Cheetah, depending on how far that male is gone. We haven't actually picked up any tracks of him anymore, but she probably know exactly where he's gone to. So we'll search around. I believe she might be still mobile, trying to hook up with that male again. So all we do, we're just gonna search the roads. Once we get an update, if somebody else come across her, always return back to follow her up again. It will be very much interesting to see them together, male and a female. It's getting slightly hot. Maybe she would delay in one of the shed once it becomes very hot during the course of the day. But I'm actually going to spend time in this area. It's very worth it to see if she come out. And there is no near water hole where we left her, so the next water hole for her would be a twin dam if she had that direction there. It will be very good for her to drink just before very hot. And then all she do from there, she's just going to find a shed and lie down. Since she actually belonged to here, this is her territory. So any male come in, she's very much interested to hook up with him. So we'll keep you updated once we get any confirmation.
Well, good luck, Andrew. Here I have the tall one, the Maasai Giraffe, named after the local people and also after the land. You can either call it Maasai or Maasai. I don't know if you got that, Maasai or Maasai. M with a double A, S-A-I, or M-A-S-A-I. You can call it either. It's the only species of giraffe found here, and this is a very clever male. He has found a private shade for himself, and he has decided that it's the best spot for him to chew his cud. Giraffes have got a relative called the Okapi, and Okapi is found in the Democratic Republic of Congo and other tropical forest around that area. It's got slightly shorter neck and lives in the forest. It's actually the closest relative to the giraffe that we find here. He is very busy enjoying his morning, definitely looking at us. Roth, what is the purpose of the giraffe horns? Well, very much like other antelopes, the giraffes use them for fighting. They have a fight called necking, where they use their necks to entangle one another while trying to hit one another, and they play a very vital role in establishing dominancy amongst males, because during mating, the oldest, the biggest males and the toughest ones get to mate with females. So they are used for fighting, and you can always tell a male horns by looking at them from a distance. They are bare at the top. I mean, they have no hairs at all. And Roth, they are not actually horns, although it's the preferred term that we have to use. They're called ossicons. Ossicons. Horns are made of compressed hairs called keratin, very much like our fingernails, the rhino horn, like the scales in a pangolin. Very many things have got, that material, keratin. These ones is a growth from the skull. So it's bone, and then on the outside you can tell it's got skin. So very different from antlers. You find them in the States with those animals like caribou. Very different from animals like buffalo and small antelopes like impalas, Thompson's gazelle, kudu, Ngala, bushback. This one has got skin around it. Look at it clearly. You will see it's got skin. They're called ossicons. But we always use the word horns because it's easier. Crazy. I don't know, crazy. Sorry, didn't get the whole name. But can a giraffe survive with a broken neck? Definitely no. No matter if it's treated, of which I don't know, we have such kind of surgery in this time and date. A giraffe with a broken neck is a death sentence. And it's something you don't want to see. I've seen one, and it looks like they're in great pain because they know they cannot defend themselves. And also, anything will get them, and they're dying. So it cannot survive 100%. Without doubt, it will not survive. A broken neck is a death sentence to this beautiful creature. Yeah, standing like that gives me the impressions that he feels very safe. At his size, nobody actually can take him, apart from maybe 20 lions. We will take him. Lions and lionesses will take him, but he's very immune to very many. Remember, their necks have got 7 vertebrae, as we talk about broken neck. And each vertebra is around 24 centimeters. We have the same number, but ours are teeny weeny, I would call it, very tiny, very small. The giraffes are very, very long. It is an adaptation it got so that it can feed and get to a different niche. Unlike other grazers and browsers, it can reach to tall trees like this. And that's why we have this kind of shaped trees dotted all over Africa, because of this beautiful animal. I'm gonna leave you with that beautiful sight as I continue in search of Jasiri.
Thanks, Isaac. Good luck. These giraffe. We now still these on our search for that lamb again, but no luck. Just spending time here with one of the female elephant, and the baby looks like it's just lying down. We can't have a visual right now. Looks like right behind that female. So because so much of growth here that takes place but there's a baby lying on the floor. See what she does there, putting sand over herself. Quite a lot of sand. Usually for a probably get off the flies, parasite. Quite a big animal right on top of them. And nothing really scratched them there. So all they do, they rely on mud, very soft mud, wet, spray them right on top of themselves, but also sand, dust buff. Actually in the USA, so you want to know if the male and the female have it equal in terms of a length of a trunk. So there is a difference. Female seems to be slightly small compared to the male, where height of a male is anything from 4.5 meters, 4 meters, and where a female roughly 2.53 meter height, So that is actually a big difference. And then the fully grown male, the trunk can be anything like 700 pounds weight, and for the female slightly less, maybe 400 pounds. So length can be anything from 3 to 2.5 long, but they can extend when they want to. They can actually control these trunk because it's all reach with a lot of muscles. Seems to be anything from 70 over that, 70,000 muscle. It's amazing how she just also do the same as the young one. She just went right there. If you don't know there's elephant around here, you're almost likely to walk right through there. And it's so big, but with this brushes, once she's down, all you see is just a movement of a shadow in there. So I'm going to take another moment here, having a look if there is more elephants to join this cow here.
So welcome everybody to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. We have spent the entire morning looking for these family of cheetah, mom and 2 cubs. My name is Ross and behind the camera is Craig today, and we are coming from andBeyond Phinda, and we are a bit late to the party this morning, but as they say, never late than never. And I think we must have driven past these cheetah probably about 4 or 5 times, because look how almost completely, even when we're sitting right close to them, completely hidden underneath this thick grass that's growing close to the base of this tree. And the only reason we found them on the 4th time was because they stood up to give us a look. And we were with these cheetah last night. They were looking very, very hungry, but in a similar area. They haven't moved too far from where they were, but it looks like they may have eaten something small, maybe in the late afternoon yesterday or early morning this morning. Possibly maybe even a small newborn impala or a duiker or a scrub hare or something like that. Their bellies are just showing a little bit of roundness, but I'm sure they could still eat. And it's a very, very warm morning, and the cloud cover is such that there's this very bright white glare, this kind of light that's shining in the moment, and it seems to be irritating this cheetah quite a lot. They're closing their eyes and squinting a bit because there's this very white light along with the heat, and I think they're just taking their time to relax now, just get away from that. Luckily, this small tree is just big enough to cast a shadow for 3 of them to fit under. So they found a sufficient amount of shade for all 3 of them to rest under until they feel the need to get up and go and do something else. And for now, we're going to stick here and watch them. And while we do so, we're going to send you off to another live location.
So welcome back to the Mara here. The elephants are slowly grazing. You can see there's 2 bulls who've come to join it. Not a small herd, but a relative size. Normally you find that these bulls always walk a long distance, covering a wide home range, and they'll always come walk through these herds, investigate if the females are in estrus, and then carry on with their daily activity. Elephants will choose from browsing to grazing, depending on availability of food. And sometimes you'll find that trees will fall in a diet for them. This is because they want to add more nutrients into their diet. And because of that, sometimes we come across trees that have been fallen down by elephants. Barks have been peeled. And sometimes they even break the branches for the young ones. But when they cross the savannah like this, they always eat grass and some small trees that are popping up on the ground. You see how they do? He is analyzing the female scent to see if she might be in estrus. A nice place to come and watch the elephants this time of the year.
Well, my search for Jasiri has taken me all the way to the river, and I have decided to take a break here as I enjoy this beautiful prehistoric reptile, the Nile crocodile. This is one massive, I would say, male by the looks. They normally have a short, stumpy head, and he's got just about three quarters of the half out of water. So we have about another half in and also a few feet. So he's easily a good 18 feet if I estimate. Remember, this is one predator that still considers man as a source of food. They will hunt you if you get into these waters. They still cause lots of deaths in Africa. In this river, they make sure that the number of fish and thirsty animals are kept at check. Without them, a very large amount of animals will still be out there. But they make sure that the numbers are brought down, especially during the migration. They do make up a big percentage of deaths to zebras, wildebeest, Thompson's gazelle, and even toppies. They live to around 80 years, well equipped to live in these dirty and murky waters of the mighty Mara River. They have a third eyelid, which allows them to see underwater. They can stay underwater for up to an hour, and I think even more if forced. Their jaws are very strong, 72 teeth that are saw-like, and weighing up to a ton. If they get hold of any animal, chances are it's got no escape, very few escape. A very good swimmer can swim, they say, 40 kilometers an hour, but I'm still in doubt of that. I would say more of about 20 kilometers per hour. That would be much better. They don't make a ripple when they swim under, making them like torpedoes underwater. They have stealth and they can wait, so making them very, 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 very dangerous. Amazing reptile. Found in rivers, lakes, and streams all over Africa. Palm, is the migration still on? It's It's over. It went back very, very late. We have the resident zebras now. We don't have the wildebeest anymore. So it's over, it's gone. It lasted a very long time, and I am grateful because it gave us another side of nature that we can not always predict everything as it is written. The residents of this Mara River, apart from the reptiles, we have the hippopotamus. They love it in the water, and they are, created and made to live in water, spending about 12 to 13 hours in the water, only coming out at night to graze and wandering distances of up to about 2 kilometers here, not very far. They don't wander very far. Places where there is harsh conditions, it is said they can travel up to 7 kilometers out of water. Bubble, will the crocodiles feed now that the migration is over? Well, definitely they will snack on fish. In this river we have about 4 or 5 species of different types of fish, and the biggest ones that I've seen are catfish and mudfish. I have seen one that weighed over 14 pounds. So they're very huge fish. They will snack on the fish. Also, if an animal comes to drink, they will get it if they have a chance. But they can stay for up to 1 year without eating. They can slow their metabolism by reducing their heartbeat, which is a 4-chambered heart. They can control it, reducing the heartbeats up to about 1 heartbeat a minute. That's giving them enough time to digest the solid food they ate during migration. A fully grown one, I believe, can eat a whole wildebeest. And so they can utilize that slowly over a period of 1 year until the migration arrives. Usually when the migration arrives, there is a feeding frenzy in these sections of the river. I'm gonna move on in search of my Jasiri. I'll see you down the road.
All right, so from the Maasai Mara back to Phinda, and we are still with these 3 cheetah, and they are just as still as they were before when you left, but they are still interested in looking around. Look at this female, the one on the right that you can see, with the head that's a little bit larger than the other 2, and with pretty yellow and black fur on her back, is the mother of these 2 cubs. And she's every now and again puts her head up, listens forwards, sees something, maybe a warthog or a bird that flies past, and she's still, I think, on the lookout for a potential meal. Like I said earlier, they seem to have eaten, but only a little bit, and I think that they might be tempted, if something was to walk past them now, who knows, they might be tempted to hunt just opportunistically. I don't think they'd go out and walk around and look to actively hunt, but if something had to walk past now, they'd definitely stalk it. This other little cub is yawning, and he's actually staring up into the heavens, and there's a vulture that's flying just above him. That's out of picture for you, but he's got his eyes fixed on that vulture. Just the curiosity of a young cheetah cub. Attention is being caught by everything that moves around. So Joy, you've asked what is a cheetah's favorite food, and that's a really good question. Cheetahs are carnivores, as this one just sits up now beautifully to have a look around. Cheetahs are carnivores, so they only eat meat, and they are also one of the smallest carnivores out here. They only weigh about between 40 and 60 kilograms, depending on male or female. There's quite a big difference in weight. So they'll have to kill something a lot smaller than what a lion could kill. I'd say the biggest animal that this cheetah female could bring down would be a female impala. So anything smaller than a female impala, any antelope that's smaller, maybe a duiker or a suni that we get here in Zululand, and a baby nyala, any young antelope, they would look to target to kill. And maybe even a young cheetah when it's just left its mother and is starting to make its way on its own and still learning how to hunt, could even hunt things that are smaller than those small antelope, maybe even a scrub hare or birds, until they just refine their hunting skills. So yeah, the majority of their prey is made up of smaller antelope, and on Phinda, cheetahs hunt, I'd say, mostly impala. And it's an exciting time of the year as well at the moment, because the impala are all about to have their babies. They have their babies pretty much at the same time every year in the beginning of summer, and those small impala lambs are probably going to form a major part of these cheetahs' diet in the next couple of months. These cheetahs there's a slight wind of breeze blowing now, and it seems to have refreshed them. They're looking up and they're sitting up every now and again a little bit more. So we are going to stick with them and see what happens. We're going to send you off to another beautiful location for now.
Another apex predator that enjoys hunting impala is the African wild dog. Or you can call it painted dog or even painted wolf. Wild dog, apparently has negative connotations. I think it's a fantastic name. But wild dog sort of suggests wild, vermin, rabies. And therefore, in order to support the conservation of wild dogs, we'll call them painted dogs or painted wolves, which is also fabulous. Now, I don't know what pack this is. My gut feeling would tell me it could be the Pungwe pack. There's lots of puppies, and we're nowhere near where we were yesterday with that other pack that I still don't have an ID for. We are currently on Chitwa, but they've gone into the drainage. It's getting very, very hot already. I have no idea what the temperature is, but it's remarkably different from when we first set out this morning. Now, wild dogs are the second most endangered canid after the Ethiopian wolf. Now, the Ethiopian wolf is the most endangered carnivore in the whole of Africa, and they can actually interbreed and hybridize with domestic dogs, which threatens their genetic integrity, and that's one of the main factors, one of many, that has contributed to the decline of the Ethiopian wolves. But African wild dogs cannot interbreed with domestic dogs. They cannot do that. They cannot breed with them. Therefore, they won't hybridize, and therefore, their genetic integrity is still safe. But for a while, let me just first say that the Latin name of wild dog is Lycaon pictus, and it was first hyena picta way back in 1820 because they thought it belonged to the hyena family, and then it was of course reclassified 7 years later. It's not related to a hyena. So we're going to try and maneuver around and see if we can find the rest of the pack.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala everybody. It is an incredibly warm morning here. And I'm very happy that you've seen some of Lauren's wild dogs. At the moment, we've actually just found a little bachelor herd of impala, and they seem to be trying to determine dominance at the moment. You can see how hot it is at the moment. It's actually quite boiling. And these impalas have been chasing each other around, especially that one and the other one that's a similar age, maybe 2 or 3 years old. They've been chasing each other around and locking horns, kicking up some dust. And there's actually a whole lot more coming out from the right as well. And it seems like they actually have quite a lot of energy, even though it is so hot this morning. And that could be because it was nice and cool this morning when we got out here. But they're all moving into these clearings and then actually across into the more dense bushes behind, where it's a bit cooler, so that maybe they can hide a bit from the sun as it gets hotter throughout the day. But it's very interesting that this is only a bachelor herd. There are no females here, and that's quite normal for this time of the year, because we haven't started with the official rut yet. So the males haven't started trying to take over the harems or the herds from the dominant males that have many females. But that is why it is quite interesting to see that they are already trying to show dominance. So they'll have almost like a hierarchy in this bachelor herd of sizing each other up and seeing dominance, so that when the time comes for the rut, which actually starts in around May, then they know who is the most dominant and who has the best chance of taking over that herd. You can see how the sun is shining off of that red upper part of the coat. So those two males have actually been following each other around. You can see the way that they look at each other, that they've been practicing their dominance this morning with each other. See how they're circling each other like that. So it's almost how an impala would size another one up, is when they kind of come face to face and they might walk around each other a few times. And then what they'll do is they'll stand head to head and start kind of almost bucking their horns at each other to initiate a fight. I've seen some pretty serious fights here. There was actually an impala that was well known around andBeyond and Ngala that had another impala's horn that actually broke off in his neck, and he survived with it. But they can get very vicious. They can actually kill each other in these fights. At the moment, they're looking nice and relaxed, and the more we move towards May, the more serious the fighting will get. Because then it becomes about making the next generation, and that's what every animal's instinct is to do. There's two fighting at the moment. Those two are a little bit younger. You can see their horns aren't as big. But can you see how they kind of lower their heads together and then clash horns? So these two are too young to be taking part in next year's rut, but it is important for them to know dominance and the hierarchy from when they're very young, but also just to practice so that when they do get to that point, they actually know what they're doing when they fight. But you can see they're very clever. They fight in a more open area, even though it's hotter, because they can get a bit distracted when they're fighting like this. So if lions or leopards or wild dogs are around, they want the best chance possible of seeing them coming. Jay, the fighting can last anywhere from a few minutes to, if it's a more serious fight, even, I suppose, up to about an hour. But they don't fight consistently. What they do is they fight for a bit, and then you see them stop and look up and look around, like that, and then they put their heads down again. And so what they're doing is, in between the fighting, they're actually just making sure that there's no predators coming, because they want to be absolutely certain that they're not too distracted, that they end up becoming easy prey. There you can see they've stopped for a bit. and then they might actually start again. So it really does depend. When we get closer to May and the rutting season, then the fights last longer and they're a lot more serious. In this kind of situation, especially with those two young males, it's more about practicing. And if they get too hot or anything like that, then they'll start moving off. But look at how well they blend in the shade compared to where they were in the sun. Absolutely incredible camouflage. So it's always been one of the most fascinating things to me is how impalas in particular are the ones that take a rut incredibly seriously. You don't often see other antelopes fighting, but impalas can literally fight to the death. And it can be incredibly serious. The sound is incredible. So I think we're going to leave them here in the shade and move on down towards the riverbed, see what we can find there.
So these cheetah have now all become incredibly flat. You can just see maybe just the spots in amongst the grass. And you can see the one cheetah furthest away from us and closest to the trunk of the tree, how he's panting. And his chest and his rib cage is just constantly going up and down as he pants because it's so hot. And panting with his mouth open and panting with his tongue going out will release heat through his tongue. And cheetah, like a lot of other animals, can't sweat, so they lack the ability like we do to cool ourselves by air wicking water off of the side of our skin and cooling ourselves through evaporation like that. Cheetahs release all of their heat through panting, so it's just their way of coping with the heat. What also could be contributing to this cheetah panting a lot and trying to increase its oxygen into its lungs is the fact that it may have had a small meal and is now trying to digest that meal, and its body is now expending a lot more energy trying to digest that small meal. It's almost like when you have a huge Sunday lunch or a Christmas lunch or a massive meal and you just feel fatigued afterwards because your stomach is so full, your body is trying to digest it.
Where are those geese? Oh, sorry about that, everybody. That was very short notice. What we are actually looking for is the Egyptian geese. I think can we go to the right, BK? In between the logs, yeah. Look there. That one elephant walk over. There we go. Draw your attention away from the elephants for just a moment because there is some very exciting news. We have been watching this pair of Egyptian geese for I don't know how long now, and they were the last ones of all the Egyptian geese at the dams on Pridelands to have goslings, and there appears a little one. I think I counted 6, but it was quite difficult with all the waves bashing about, so we'll wait and see if they do come out into the open again. Mom and Dad are not impressed with the elephants today. And we saw these Egyptian geese yesterday afternoon and they had no goslings. So I think that they must have either hatched late last night or even very early this morning. Because what the adults will do is once they've hatched, they'll bring them down to the water almost immediately. Now, they don't always nest up in trees. It could be in like a termite mound somewhere nearby. I don't know where they were nesting. I didn't see them flying up on top of the buffalo weaver nests that we were looking at yesterday afternoon. Here comes some elephants into frame. But hopefully the Egyptian geese have to make a run for it to the water because that brings about much entertainment, and it's actually had BK and I in hysterics all morning long. But Mom and Dad will be vocal enough, I think, to chase some of those elephants away if they get too close. Nice and safe there. But there, of course, are all boys, the usual crowd, up down. The early morning. Sorry. Guy, yes, elephants do make a circle to protect the baby, but not these elephants. These are all boys. These are all male elephants. So when you find a breeding herd of elephants, which we don't have right now, then yes, if there seems to be a threat, whether the adults hear something, smell something, or see something, they will indeed put all the younger elephants in the middle and surround them. But we won't be seeing anything like that, not right now. Anyways. All having a chocolate bubble bath. They've calmed down quite a bit. I think we're nearing the end of the pool party. They've been playing here for about the last 30 minutes, maybe even longer, because when we arrived, they were already splashing about. But again, it's going to be another hot day in the Lowveld, so there are going to be elephants coming through the eco-training camp all day long. Maybe a breeding herd will head this way too. We know the buffalo might not come here because they're quite settled at Leopard Dam, and that's all the way to the northwest from where we are now. So there won't be any of that entertainment. Maybe a few Duggar boys. Wait, what are you doing? It's of course very typical, as we've been chatting about for the last little while. Very normal behavior for elephant bulls to do this, or male animals of all kinds, to assert their dominance over one another, but it's obviously a lot easier to do in the water. Luckily he has got a trunk as a snorkel, otherwise I might be drowned. Oh, BK, there's an elephant going towards the Egyptian geese now to the right. Let's see. So we know from watching the elephants at this dam for such a long time that they constantly are climbing over this fallen tree. Remember, the elephants are quite flexible. So I'm quite curious to see what the adults have done. They just moved further in underneath those branches, and it's quite a young bull in comparison to what we were watching, so maybe he might be quite cheeky, because it's quite easy to be big and brave when you're the size of the elephant and try and scare off an Egyptian goose. But we will just sit here and see what happens. But I think that the adults of those little goslings will definitely not be too impressed with that elephant.
We tried to find the rest of the pack, but I think they're right in that drainage there, which is exactly where I would be if I was a doggy in today's heat. FC, what is the current temperature? I know it was 18 degrees Celsius when we left this morning, according to Google. That wonderful thing called Google. But I think it's increased at least by 5 degrees, if not more. 7 degrees. Too slow, FC. Kat's brought up his weather app, and it is 28 degrees Celsius. So that's a 10-degree increase since this morning. Oof, I can only imagine how these dogs are feeling. We knew about them this morning. There was just a rather large lineup. And of course, once the sun does get too high in the sky and it becomes too hot, wild dogs do go flat. They're primarily crepuscular, and they avoid being around at night time also. They cannot compete really with your leopards, your lions, mainly leopards and lions. Hyenas are a little bit of a different story, and cheetahs are also primarily diurnal. Wild dogs don't have the strength or the sort of muscle power like a lion and a leopard does. They have the numbers though, they have the pack. And as I always mention, each predator has their own unique specializations where they can fit into the hierarchy. I guess it's not really a hierarchy if you think about it. That's why I always use the example of a pizza. But it makes me hungry when I think of pizza. My cameraman's laughing. He had a pizza yesterday. But yes, It's not really a hierarchy. Hierarchy makes you think, it's a ladder. Like hyenas, the social structure is a hierarchy. But for the predator dynamics, I like to think of it as a pizza. And everybody's got a slice and they fit into it in their own way. Lions are, of course, classified as the apex predators, the top of the top, but everybody fits into it in their own way because they can all be the same. Otherwise, there would be far too much interspecific competition. No one would be able to survive and thrive if they were all built the same and they all had the same specializations. In my eyes, they're all equally amazing in their own right, but their survival techniques are different. And wild dogs, crepuscular, avoid the midday heat as anyone would. And at night time, they just lay low and they sleep. So essentially they're diurnal, with their peak times being between sunrise and sunset. I still don't know if this is a Pungwe pack or not. I'm sorry. When leopards and lions get called in on the radio, they're named, sometimes wrongly, but they're named. Wild dogs, people don't really follow the packs so much. And the pack on Buffalo's Hook yesterday remains unknown. And I can only see these two members of the pack in front of me right now. But based on their location, my gut's telling me the Pungwe pack. Daryl, terribly, yes. Now, I think someone on the drive the other day said that they enjoy the smell of wild dogs. And, wow, I would love to meet this person because, honestly, it is such a strong smell. For me, it's the worst smell in the bush. Maybe comes close to lions' scat, but not lions themselves. And it's it's mainly urine, very strong, stale urine. And when it fills your nostrils, it's very acidic, very sour. It's just not a pleasant smell. For being such wonderful, magnificent animals, they do urinate a lot, and they urinate on themselves a lot, which is lovely. And hence they carry this smell. And I have found wild dogs on maybe 5 occasions through following my nose. I can smell them, and I just know that they're in the area. I never get a smell like this from hyenas. Yes, when Ribbon's feeling a little bit gassy, you do smell the gas. Or when they've been at a carcass, of course. But generally, when you just spend time with hyenas, they really smell nothing like wild dogs. But of course, it's an excitement smell here because as soon as you smell it, you know there's wild dogs in the area. But generally speaking, it's not pleasant. I think this will be them flat here for the rest of the day, which is perfect. Darcy, generally speaking, wild dogs have to feed every single day. They're not like lions and leopards that can sort of gorge themselves until their tummies are absolutely bulging, and then they can sort of wait a few days. Wild dogs hunt every single day, and that's because they require more meat relative to their size than lions do. They've not got that muscle power. They can't really gorge their tummies in the way that the cats do, and that's because they've got to keep moving. They've got to be able to run. That's how they hunt, and that's how they escape predators. So they are a hypercarnivore, which means they eat more than 70% meat, and they must eat every single day. I'm sure that they would survive a few days without food, as we would as well, that they'll need to hydrate, and they would become very, very weak. So normally they hunt twice a day, sunrise, sunset, but I'm sure they would survive with just one big meal a day. 80% of their diet is actually impala, and they will feed on bigger game as well. Zebra sometimes, just like the encounter yesterday, waterbuck, wildebeest, kudu, but generally speaking, it's impala, the medium-sized antelope that they go for, and they need to sustain high energy levels every single day. They exert a lot of energy by being mobile, pack dynamics, play, moving from one place to another, and they can't afford to go into an energy deficit. Now, in saying that, they will snack on smaller. I'm sure if a wild dog had the chance to grab a quick snack of a scrub hare, it would, but generally speaking, they go for antelope. So I think we may let these pups lie and see what else we can find around Chitwa.
The breeze is still blowing here at andBeyond Phinda, thankfully, because it's turning into an absolute scorcher. And these cheetahs are still sleeping under this small buffalo thorn tree. It's a tree with very, very nasty thorns that mostly face backwards, so it's really one tree that you don't want to get stuck in. But it also is starting to show some beautiful green leaves, and luckily for the cheetah, it's got some nice shade. But it just shows how the rain that we've been having on Phinda is starting to result in all the plants, even the grass around here that you can see, which has grown long. All the plants are getting greener and much more lush. And it's making life a little bit easier for these cheetah, because when there's a little bit more cover, longer grass, thicker bushes, it's much more easy for them to creep up close to and stalk the antelope that they would want to catch. And they'd have to get quite close, because even though they are the fastest land mammal, fastest runner of any other mammal in the whole world. Oh, they just heard something, gave them a bit of a fright. It was a dung beetle that just flew past. Gave them a little bit of a fright. Even though they're the fastest animal in the world, they still have to get quite close, because they get tired very quickly. But now have a look at this young cheetah's head. He's got his head up now. Look how flat that top of his head is. And that is it's to make him more aerodynamic. So we're talking about how fast they are. They've got some amazing adaptations to enhance their speed. So one of them is that flat head, just so that they can cut through the air like a knife when they're running at full speed. They've also got, and I hope they put their heads up again so we can see, they've got very wide nostrils. They are super flared for maximum air intake when they're running, so that they can take in as much oxygen as they can into their body to make their muscles run as fast as they possibly can. They've also got, and I don't know if you can see, I don't think so, but on their paws they've got claws which are only semi-retractable, which means that they can't pull their claws into their toes. They sit halfway out and halfway into their toes. So most cats can pull their claws in, just like a house cat, and then stick them out when they want to grab onto something. But these cheetahs can't do that. So their claws are always slightly blunt, because they can't pull them in, and they get blunt on the ground when they walk around. But those claws act as almost like the same as a footballer's cleats. They're there for traction when they're running along the ground. Those claws provide them extra traction for them to run fast. So Ben, you've asked how far cheetah can see, and I'm actually not sure exactly to answer your question. I'm not sure in kilometers, but it's 100% many, many more times further than us. I've seen, just to give you a kind of anecdotal answer, I've seen cheetah spot an impala walking on a hillside about 3 or 4 kilometers away, and the cheetah was just kind of lazily looking around, and he spotted that impala. And it took me and the guy that I was with about 2 or 3 minutes to actually find the impala that he was looking at with our binoculars. So even with binoculars, cheetah have better eyesight than us. And I'll actually have a look. I'm sure somebody's done a study on exactly how far a cheetah can see. It does depend on the time of day and the light. But I'll have a look and I'll get back to you on that, because I'd also be very interested to know. Also, with cheetahs' vision in the daytime, when they're normally active, there's always very bright and sometimes very glaring sunlight, which is quite damaging to the eyes if you're out all day. And cheetahs have this amazing adaptation for seeing in the daylight hours, which is that they have these black marks that run from their eyes to the corner of their mouth. And that actually absorbs most of the sun's glare, so that they are able to see much better, and it takes that whiteness out of the glare of the sun for them to be able to see, just like now in the heat of the day. Whereas lions and leopards, other cats, don't have those black spots, so they can't see as well in daytime. Very, very, very interesting. But for now, this cheetah and her cubs have their eyes closed, so we're going to stay here for a little bit and send you off for now.
Well, good luck. I hope the cheetahs get up. But one animal that never disappoints is the elephant. They're always doing something. If not eating, it is moving. And here, a very large herd had just come out of this forest heading towards me. A lot of young ones, they're still coming out. So Jasiri could be here. It would be nice to see him as we end the morning. I don't know if he's gonna be here in this herd. I haven't seen him yet. He has been moving very steadily, and so he could be here. No, I don't see him. Yeah, I was looking at others that will be sharing them with you, and he's not here. Yeah, it's always nice to see big herds like this, and here there is a tradition that they are keeping, where they love it in the river during the heat of the day, and then in the evening they head back towards the open plains. Quite a good number of males. The one in front, all by himself. I think he's considering himself a future leader, so he's coming our way. He's a male. Without looking at any other thing, I can tell by the size of the tusks and the body structure that he's a male. And he's still part of the herd until another maybe couple of years. I would give him 5, 6, maybe another 3. He'll start becoming independent, maybe finding males. Always eating. Elephants consume up to around 250 kilograms of grass every day. You would think it's a lot, but luckily grass is the most abundant plant on this planet. And so it is always growing, and they're always fertilizing it with their manure when they pass. Jack, are elephants immune to snake poison, or sorry, venom? No. But it will take a very large dose of venom to kill a fully grown elephant. You take an example of a human who's got about 6 liters of blood, whereas an elephant has got 200 liters of blood. A black mamba would kill, one bite is able to kill 20 fully grown humans. So 6 by 20 is about 120. So still, it's not enough to really say it can kill an elephant. So they are not immune. A young one will die definitely, but also breaking the skin for those fangs to inject the venom would be very difficult. I would say they're not immune, and if the venom gets through the bloodstream, it will still be almost impossible to kill the elephant. I think it's not concentrated enough. The blood will dilute it as it circulates through the system, so I don't think it would kill an elephant, but they are not immune to snake venom. This is a beautiful sight. I hope you're loving it. Always nice to see elephants coming your way or my way, coming for that much needed fresh drink at the Mara River. They haven't been wallowing much like the elephants in Djuma. And the main reason is, it has been raining. So during the rainy season, they don't wallow, they don't mud bath as much. Although team has experienced a few, but I haven't seen many. I think it's because of the cold and the rain. The one extreme left is a big female. Yeah, I'm still looking for Jasiri in amongst them with my binoculars every now and then. I'm still looking. I'm hoping to see that guy. Don, do elephants ever go to human plantation? Yes, they do. They are very smart. They can smell the maize, they can smell the wheat, they can smell the pumpkins, they can smell other vegetables from a long way. And some of them know that certain areas have got these produces, so they will go there because they were there before the human habitated that part. So they go there, and if they find something, they'll eat it. So they do go. They're well monitored. There are scouts spotted, along the escarpment and in certain villages. So if they spot a herd of elephant or a big bull wandering around, they can always contact the authorities, and sometimes they can come and head it back. Not on foot, of course, but with vehicles and even a helicopter to head it back towards the conservancy. So they do go, and actually you don't want them coming to your piece of land. One elephant is enough to finish 1 acre of corn. So you don't want them coming to your piece of land. You can see there is more coming out of that bush. I'm sure there is nothing left for any other elephant to come and eat in that bush, because they've swept everything clean. Daryl, I did get your name, but the question, no. Maybe if you could rephrase the question, I'll be pleased to answer. Yeah, Daryl, your question. Yes. Does the Maasai Mara have tractors? Tuskers. Oh, you say Tuskers. Yes, we have some Tuskers, and we have some very beautiful ones. There are not very many, but we do have them. Actually, last week I did see quite a good number that were in mast, and they roamed the area. And then I haven't seen any actually yesterday and today, but they walk long distances in search of females in season. And so you might see them today, but tomorrow they won't be there. So they don't stick around for very long, Daryl. Tuskers always moving. Of course, those Tuskers in those days in the 70s and 60s are no longer seen. They were wiped out by a man with a gun, and also because of the ivory trade in some countries. Some people believe that they still carry medicinal cures. Other people believe that they're prestigious to have them. Yes, very wrong. So those big tuskers were sought after, and we don't see those 9-footer tusks, thick and can weigh up to around 50 kilos. We don't see them anymore. You would commonly see a good 5 feet, 4 feet tusker, and it would weigh a good 20 to 30 kilos. So we do have them, but yeah, very rare. Look at this beautiful sight. Now I have, I think, about 30. And it looks magnific, all heading towards us. This is an experience that you would love to have. I'm so happy that I'm getting to share this with you. Over here, it looks like it's a good number of breeding herds, definitely not one. So they've come together for a reason. There is enough. Let's try and utilize it while we leave another area to rejuvenate or recuperate. Elephants play a very big role apart from transplanting seeds. There are seeds that need to be peeled, and the sun cannot actually peel the seeds. And so while the seed goes through the elephant system, all the bacteria peels it clean, and by the time it is dropped, it comes down with the dung, and then as it dries, it's already planted, and if it rains, it germinates, and we have a beautiful brand new tree. Look at them come our way, nice and slowly. Yes, always nice to see this kind of herd, not worried about anything. They're just doing their own thing, you know, what they do best. I'm hoping that they're going to come close here. There isn't much eating, which means maybe they're waiting for the little ones to rest a little bit as they come towards me. Well, all I can say now is it's been a wonderful morning hosting you, to me and my fellow guides from different locations. All I can say from now is join me this afternoon. Bye-bye.